Good morning, Nancy. How are you?
I'm fine, Keith. Good morning. Happy to see you.
Good. Nice to see you too. And I'm really glad about what we're going to do in today's show on Nancy's Nourishing Kitchen. I'm Keith Fiveson, and I'm at Work Mindfulness as part of the Center for Wellbeing. And today's show is going to be really, you can see I'm wearing my summer shirt. Isn't it? I feel very summer, even though I have a black shirt on, a black t-shirt on, I still feel very summery. So what are we going to talk about, and does it have anything to do with summer?
Of course, it has everything to do with summer. I think it's pretty much a culmination of what we've been talking about for the past 10 weeks, especially since we've all been confined to home and we haven't seen a lot of friends and a lot of family. So the show, we're going to recap what we've been talking about all week and then finish with entertaining. Summer entertaining. Hopefully we'll be able to get to spend time now outside with friends and family and how to embrace all that happiness, which is what I think we really need, with some good healthy food options, but also good for the soul options as well, I think.
I love that. I love the idea of entertaining. And with that, is just the sun and the ability to, one of the wonderful ways of just kind of, entertaining yourself is being outside and being in the sun, taking a walk, exercising, doing all that. But I'm very aware sometimes that, I get, it gets too hot and I get too drained. You know what I mean? I think of it as a flower, if you will. I'm a gentle flower that needs hydrating. So what are some of the things that we can do to nourish our everyday?
Well, anybody who's been around the whole entire time, we may sound like we're repeating ourselves a little bit, but we need to nourish ourselves every day. And the first thing I think about is what you just said: hydrate. Drink lots of water. It feeds every single cell in the body, as you do. And I shall say I have my lemon water here too. And even if you're going to, I always bring it back to entertaining. If you are going to be entertaining your family and friends, make water interesting. You don't have to drink plain water. Throw in citrus. Now it's summer. Throw in berries. Throw in cucumber. Throw in fresh mint or fresh basil, just to make water fun and interesting and still healthy. So always hydrate. The next thing we talk about nourishing ourselves is with healthy food. And that's something we've been talking about for the past 10 weeks as well. There are ways to enjoy food and love food and have good food and still be healthy. So you don't necessarily have to reach for the bag of chips or the heavy dips and things like that to enjoy food. Move, always exercise, whether it's a walk around the block. Our gym time is limited, but even now in our COVID world, there are ways to move, and that's not only good for the body, but it's good for the mind. Manage stress. And when I think of managing stress, I mean, Keith, you know more and go into more about the meditation, but it can be that walk around the block. It can be listening to music. I love to think of cooking as an active form of meditation. So reduce your stress. That's a good way to keep healthy. And sleep. Everybody talks about sleep, but sleep is really important to overall health. So there are lots of ways to nourish every single day, and food's just one component.
Well, it's great because one of the things that you and I talked about was this mindful eating awareness training that, I wind up doing. And one of the things that we talk about is savoring food and, taking a breath in between your bite, cleaning your palate, cleaning your mouth. And as far as stress is just taking those breaths, continuing to take breaths, deep breaths, like really focused breath. Food tastes better actually after you have a couple of breaths,
It certainly does. And, when I think about food too, you want to savor your food. And, we're talking about entertaining, savor your guests as well. So I always like to think that how we eat and who we eat with is just as important as what we eat. So if you're sitting across the table, you could be eating the healthiest food on the planet. But if you are sitting across a table from somebody that you don't get along with or causes you a little stress, that definitely affects your digestion. And believe it or not, you are not going to reap the benefits of all that healthy food because you're sitting across the table from somebody
Right,
that you
right,
don't
right.
enjoy. So
Well, hopefully it's somebody you love and somebody, and you know, the person that you're sitting across the table from. And if you're in a relationship, I hope it's not someone you don't like, you know,
exactly.
because that would be, especially during these times, that would be a terrible thing. So you've got a food philosophy.
I do.
Yeah, I mean, I love philosophy, so I'm interested in your food philosophy. Let's have it.
Okay, whole foods as nature intended with all their edible parts intact. And
Mhm.
that's just very, very simple. Eat from nature as much as you can. Fresh and real. So especially now in the summer, everything is going to really be fresh, where we can still get fresh food in the winter, but we tend to go to more frozen foods if we can. Fresh, real, as little processed food as possible. You really don't want to eat all those fake ingredients.
Mhm.
um, Seasonal and local. When we eat in season, we eat in according to nature's rhythms, right? So nature gives the body everything it wants. It's hot and humid here today.
Mhm.
I don't think anybody really wants a heavy roast or a stew. We're looking for fresh salads, raw fruits, vegetables. Nature and eating in season gives the body everything that it needs.
Mhm.
And local when we can. We talked about this before. On Long Island, the farms and the farmers markets are starting to appear. When you eat local, you're not only supporting our local farms and environments, but it's better for the planet, right? These fruits and vegetables and other products don't have to travel across the country. So we're kind of reducing our carbon footprint. Simple and balanced. When I talk about balance, right, it was like fiber, fat, protein, different colors, different textures. It makes food taste good. It makes food interesting.
Mhm.
Simple, let the ingredients shine. There are incredibly fancy, creative, talented chefs out there. And I
Mhm.
love when we can going to those restaurants and enjoying that food. But for the home cook, and even for those restaurant chefs, the simpler, the better. Let the ingredients shine.
Mhm.
And lastly, delicious,
Mhm.
because you can have all the other components there, but if it doesn't taste good, you're not going to want to eat it. So
Right, right, right. Well,
that's
that makes a lot of sense. One thing popped in my head as you were talking about the season, in season and local, and I'm wondering your impression, Nancy. You know, we get a lot of folks talking about the life of the food. You know, whether or not it has life to it, and is there really something to that? I mean, is there a difference between something that is grown local versus something that gets shipped over here from somewhere else, another state, another country? What do you think the differences are? I mean, is there a nutritional difference, a life difference?
there's definitely a life difference, right? So food is energy, and not in the fact that, obviously gives us energy to move and breathe and do that, but it's a life force. Food, especially plants, right, are living things.
Mhm.
So when you're getting something local, it's ripe, right? Your local farmers leave it on the vine to ripen naturally. So if something even comes from California and they're tomatoes or strawberries, they need to be picked when they're underripe to
Mhm.
be allowed to ripen in the trucks going across the country. And that diminishes the life force, the energy that's in that food. If
Mhm.
you go to a local farmer's market when you can, or even order from someplace that's getting local food, it's pretty much picked the day before or even the morning of, if you're shopping, at a farm stand, say on Long Island.
Mhm.
You've got that life force energy. But when food is not ripe and it travels long distances, that slowly
Mhm.
dies, if you will. It diminishes. So it's still nutritious. Believe me, a vegetable from California is better than no vegetable at all. But
Right.
when you can, try to choose as close to where you live as possible.
So you believe in sort of that Hippocrates saying, "Let food be thy medicine" in some way,
Mhm.
huh?
Yeah, food is thy medicine and medicine is thy food. And it is so
Okay.
true.
Great,
So
great,
true.
great, good, good, good. So if at worst case, when we go to the market, look for local produce because it's got, not only are you guaranteed that it'll may have a better taste to it or it's fresher, but more importantly, it has more life force to it. It's going to do more for you and build your immune system.
Absolutely.
So so within the, when we get the food, obviously we're in the market. You have this thing called a trifecta of balancing eating, right? I like that trifecta. It almost like a horse race, isn't it? The trifecta.
And it
Good.
sticks in the brain. I think
Yeah,
people will remember
I think
that.
it's good. So what is the trifecta as we're shopping around the store? We've already got it. You don't want to go ahead. We want to stay away from I always say, I heard the saying, stay away from the middle aisles, shop the outside of the store.
Right.
Because in the outside of the store, you're going to get, I think most of the things that you're really talking about in this trifecta here. Can you talk about that?
Sure. Well, first of all, when you shop in a store, right, you shop the perimeter. That's where all your fresh foods are. So I think about like that, the local store by us, say North Shore Farms. You walk in and there's your produce right away. And as you walk around the outside, you'll get into your fresh meats and then your dairy and then your cheeses and the eggs. And it's all around the outside. And there are some aisles in the center where you'll need to get some of your beans and grains,
Mhm.
but the rest of the stuff is all the processed foods, all the cookies and the chips and the things that come from labs, in my opinion,
Mhm.
not from nature. When I talk about the trifecta,
So let's just stop there. I think this is a really important part.
okay,
So like, if nothing else in terms of behavior, if there's one thing we can take away from this, is you go into the store and you shop the outside of the store first,
right.
and then maybe you go into the inside to get some of the condiments or some of the things that you might need. And again, just be very wise and judicious in that approach, right?
Absolutely. And they're usually in two aisles that are almost back to back, so whether it's your oils and your vinegars, which you need, and your beans and your grains
Mhm.
and things like that. And I find they seem to be one aisle here and the next aisle here. And then as you get out around that is when you have a lot more of your snack foods and your
Mhm.
sweets and things like
Great,
that. So
great. That's a great signal for behavior. So back to the complex fiber, fat, and protein. Yes. Go
fiber,
ahead.
fat, and protein. Fiber is complex carbohydrates, your plants. So a bagel is not a carbohydrate, it's a processed food. A muffin is not a carbohydrate, it's a processed food. We need carbohydrates, we need complex carbohydrates. They have fiber in it. It's good for digestion. It makes you feel full. So we need that. So carbohydrates are great.
But wait a second, a bagel makes you feel full? A
It does.
bagel, a bagel, especially, you throw on some butter, maybe not even the butter, maybe you throw on some cream cheese, some other stuff on top of that. What's wrong with that?
It makes you feel full for a little while, but chances are an hour or two later, you're ready for more, right?
Right.
So
Okay.
it's
I heard that about Chinese food, not about bagels.
same thing about bagels. Bagels are a little dense, but it's made from processed flour, right? It's not a refined grain. You don't have all that fiber in it. There's no nutritional value to a
Right.
bagel. So all it does is spike your blood sugar and then you crash and then you're looking for more. Whereas
Right.
when you have complex carbohydrates, plants, in combination with the healthy fats and some lean protein, that trifecta, it
Hmm.
keeps your blood sugar stable and balanced, and you're not looking for the next quick sugar fix, right? So a bagel just converts really to sugar in the body at a much faster rate.
So bagel, I get it. So bagel, maybe a pizza, triple cheese pizza, I get that. Now,
Yeah.
but what about like rice? What about pasta? Are those, I mean, isn't that a complex carb?
It's a complex carb. It's a whole food. It's
White,
from
white,
nature.
white rice is okay?
White rice, they have the outer layer taken out, right? So
Uh-huh.
maybe you miss a couple of some more nutrients. But I'm a fan of white rice. I
Okay.
am not anti-white rice. I also am big on variety. So don't have white rice every day. Mix it up with brown rice or some different grains. Variety. It's
Grains like
processed
quinoa, like
grains like
quinoa.
quinoa, like millet, like amaranth, like brown rice, oats.
Mm.
There's lots of grains out there. They're all complex carbohydrates. They are plants.
We had Bulgar the other night. That was interesting.
Bulgur is good. Bulgur
Yeah,
wheat's
I mean,
good.
I was stunned at how wonderful that was. So because you don't really eat like Bulgar, you know, hey, I'll have a bowl of Bulgar, please. You know, that's not something you hear every day.
Farro is a favorite grain.
Arrow.
You know, some grades have gluten and people are gluten free, but quinoa is gluten free. Farro has gluten. I made a porridge this morning with millet, quinoa, and amaranth with some almond milk. Is a different taste as opposed to just having regular oatmeal in the morning. So you can
Got
do
it.
anything.
Got it.
So
And what are healthy fats?
healthy fats. So fats are your friend. We need fats. Avocado, olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil is a healthy fat, nuts and seeds. So the unhealthy fats are the highly refined oils like the vegetable oils and the processed trans fats that you find in packaged foods. So we need fat, but just think smart. Healthy fats are important. They also keep you full.
Yeah, but I don't know, we've been told that nuts are really make you fat. Like, you know, I mean, there's been a really big thing like, you know, don't eat too many nuts, they make you fat. You know, but yet at the same point, I don't know, I have almonds, I love almond milk, I love all that stuff. So you're saying those are healthy fats.
Those are healthy fats, and fat does not make you fat. Okay, it's all the extra sugar and the processed stuff that your body doesn't want to process naturally, right? Nuts are from nature. When you eat them, your body goes, I know what that is, and then it knows exactly what to do with it.
Oh, wait. So we've been drilled down about low fat, low fat, low fat. And what you're saying is that that actually is not what really, like if you get nuts or you get almonds or you have cashews or stuff like that, obviously you don't eat, you know, tons of them, but they fill you up, don't they?
Well, you can't eat a quart of almonds. I mean,
Mm.
you just get full. So they are satisfying. They have fiber in it. It takes longer to digest. So they are good for you. Almond butter, you can find almond butter and peanut butter in the stores without the added sugar. You don't need to have an ingredient with added sugar or added oils to
And
it.
they've got lots of protein in them as well, right? So they're fat and they have protein.
Fat and protein. So throwing some nuts and seeds on a salad with some olive oil and your greens and different vegetables, and there's your trifecta in a meal.
Love it. Love it.
So
Love it. So
um,
you got your complex carbs, your healthy fats, and then your lean protein. And on the lean protein, it's not just nuts, but you're suggesting some lean animal protein. Does that mean you take the skin off the chicken, or what does that actually mean?
leaner cuts of meat, right? So say a piece of steak that you get in the grocery store coming from, say, a factory farmed animal has a lot more unhealthy fats in it. So when it comes to animal protein, just try to look for high quality. So chicken, I'm a chicken skin person, so there is a lot of fat in chicken, but you're not, in chicken skin, you're not eating a ton of it. I wouldn't worry about that
Mhm.
if that's all you're having. Pork is lean, poultry, even beef. You just want to look for more like grass-fed, pasture-raised beef. It's more expensive, but you eat less of it. So gone, I think, are the days where the big roast beef was the center of the plate and the vegetables were the side. Make the
Got it.
healthy meat a condiment as
Right.
opposed to where,
So you don't want to, like, the chicken's okay, but maybe if you batter it up and you deep fry it and you serve it with some, you know, onion rings and some heavy mayonnaise laced coleslaw and some
right.
hot sauce, that's not necessarily a good thing for you.
That's
Maybe
not
on maybe on a very depressing day it might feel good, but you might get even more depressed later on.
Well,
So
that's just it. You feel good in the moment and it's an emotional eating. And believe me, if you need that at that moment in time, by all means do it. It's if
right.
you do it every single day. But chances are you will feel better when you have a delicious piece of grilled chicken
Mhm.
that's seasoned with fresh herbs or dried herbs and olive oil. And it's just going to taste better to you and for you.
So do you want to have the protein every day, or do you want to have it, you intersperse it a certain number of days that you think are better? Because I personally am I'm concerned about my heart, and about my cholesterol levels, my LDL levels, and all that other stuff. So, I've heard different things in terms of lowering the amount of animal protein that you wind up having during the course of the week. What's your thought?
I think the less animal protein we eat in general, the better. I think it's better for the body and better for the planet.
Mhm.
But by all means, if I mean, I eat animal protein. I also eat vegetarian, vegan. I just try to mix it up. You need protein every day, so I wouldn't limit it. And if you prefer to eat animal protein with every meal, then do so. I don't think we really need to.
Hmm.
So we've heard about the meatless Mondays, or even if you just make one meal out of your three that does not have animal protein, it's better for the body and better for the planet. As far as cholesterol, we're getting into all the medical stuff, but a lot of that is attributed to all the add-ins, right? So the low fat, no fat from years ago that was drilled into us, that makes things taste good, right? So if they take out the fat, they're adding fake ingredients and sugars to make it tasty.
Hmm.
That definitely affects your cholesterol and triglycerides and all that kind of stuff. So if you stick to nature, I think you're good.
You have something that you call eating the rainbow. What does that mean?
So think about plants, right? Think about all the colors. And now things are just starting to burst, right? Lettuce is not just iceberg lettuce. There are different colors, red leaf lettuce and butter and arugula. Think of all the different berries, right? Strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, the different squashes, whether your winter squashes, the oranges, the carrots, the yellow summer squashes, the green zucchini. When you eat the rainbow, when you eat a colorful variety of plants, you get all the nutrition that you need.
Hmm.
And people have different tastes. Some people only like a few foods, but the wider of a variety of foods that you eat, the wider variety of colors that you eat will give your body all it needs. Then you don't have to count calories. You don't have to measure your food. Just try to think of how many colors you eat in a day or how many colors you eat in a week.
Hmm.
And believe me, you will give your body all the nutrition it needs.
Wow, I like that. So you're really kind of like inviting a little game of sorts, and I think one of the things that I'm impressed by or really am aware of is that over the last couple of months since we've been in this COVID-19 lockdown, that it's really forced me to think more about what I am eating and planning my meals and going out to the store and doing things like that, but also really give a greater sense of gratitude for being home with someone that I love and care about and is my best friend. And I couldn't think of any better lockdown partner than my wife. But I think the focus is, or the focus has been on eating food and then being at home. So what are some of the things that you'd recommend, like looking at, this time in terms of food, in terms of home cooking? Because, we did have a special time we ordered out I got a vegan pizza, which was pretty good. But we did order out, and there are some places we order out, but we're not going out as much anymore. And I'm
Yeah.
not sure that's going to how that's going to change, if it's going to change much. So tell us.
I don't know how it's going to change. Like I have three adult daughters. They're all in their 20s. They all have been home with me, and normally they would be out about in their lives. So this is a very special time for me too. I don't think I'm going to have them around like this as they do their own thing. So the four of us went out to do something yesterday, and it was late and I was going to cook, and we ended up just ordering a salad pizza. So there's a local pizzeria that makes a pizza with some tomato sauce and then tons of greens with this amazing balsamic dressing and a little sprinkle of gorgonzola cheese, because we would have been eating at 10 o'clock at night. So everybody's going to get your takeout once in a while. And it was totally fine. Cooking at home does require a lot more work. Okay, I'm a chef, and sometimes I'm tired of cooking. I don't want to do another dish, all that kind of stuff. But cooking at home is well worth the effort. So think about how we've been eating for the past 2.5, 3 months. We're eating more fresh vegetables. It's probably less processed food. We're preparing more food at home. So if you want to be healthy, right? And Keith, you've got my list. If you want to be healthy, cook. If you want to control what's in your food, cook. You know that you're putting high quality olive oil in or good sea salt in. Even a good healthy restaurant cannot afford financially some of those high quality ingredients. It's just not possible. So if you know, you want to know what's going into your food, you cook. I said before, cooking is an active form of meditation. Don't think of it as a chore, right? When you get in and you start chopping and you think about the delicious but simple meal you're going to feed your family, it just get into a zone, and there's your kind of rest period.
Love
If
that.
you want to lose weight, cook. Again, there are so many added salt and fats and sugars and things even in takeout food. If you want to save money, cook. People seem to think fresh food is more expensive, but if you actually looked at what you spent on chips and cookies versus vegetables, you will save money. If you want to teach your kids how to love healthy food, teach them how to cook. So my girls are now all in their 20s, and of course every teenager goes through their I'm eating the pizza fries and chips with all my friends. They are incredibly healthy eaters. They love good food. They love to cook. They've been preparing all their meals. So from a young age, if you want your kids to love good healthy food, teach them how to cook. And lastly, I've said this before, cooking, you share the love. I grew up in an Italian family. I'm sure any other close-knit family will think the same way. The minute you walk into somebody's house, the first thing they would say to us is, "Did you eat? Can I get you something?" And my grandmother, who died a long time ago, she always had like a bowl of pumpkin seeds on her table. I don't know, why, do you want some seeds? Like, it just, if somebody doesn't feel well, my daughter, her stomach was bothering her the other day. The first thing it was, can I make you some soup? Can I make you some ginger tea? So you're just sharing love in a very simple way. I mean, buttered toast tasted better in my grandmother's house because she prepared it with love. So it's worth the effort. It just is.
Fantastic. So I'm aware that you've got so many things that we're gonna post up on the site, and I think you've just nailed it there, with savor your food, savor your guests. We talked at one point about cocktails and mocktails. That's up on the site, and then for today, you also have some recipes, some specific recipes. What are I've got here herb nuts, which sounds fantastic, smashed potatoes, and virgin sangria. Oh, excuse me, Virginia.
So in that entertaining theme, right? Nuts and seeds are good for you. So I'm giving you guys a recipe. It's going to be on all the sites. It's herb nuts, right? So I just have some mixed nuts. Pick whatever you want, but you want the raw unsalted nuts, and you toast them in a 325-degree oven for 5-10 minutes until they start to smell. You don't want to burn them. And then when you take them out, sprinkle them with some sesame oil and some chopped fresh herbs. And now you have a really delicious, healthy, tasty snack or hors d'oeuvre or nibble or nosh that you can serve to your guests. They keep for a long time in the refrigerator. Always refrigerate nuts after, because the oil is delicate, so they keep longer in the refrigerator.
You do that with even the nuts you buy at the store? You refrigerate?
Yeah, when I bring them home, I put them in a glass jar and just keep them in the fridge.
Wow,
Yeah.
how about that? And can you find unroasted? I mean, most of the places have like roasted nuts where you go to the store and they're all roasted, right?
You can
I mean,
find
you're talking about raw nuts.
raw nuts. So, North Shore Farms that we go to, I'm out on the North Fork. The IGA has raw nuts, so you can find them. So you just want raw nuts.
And then put them in a jar and save them, right? Don't put them in the refrigerator.
Yeah,
great.
and we love pine nuts, and pine nuts are really delicate and expensive. So when I buy them, I even keep them in the freezer and then pull them out when I need them. But the herb nuts, and again, fresh herbs, we've talked about fresh herbs. I've got them now growing in pots. You don't need to have a huge garden to get fresh herbs. You can grow them yourself, or you can now get them in the store. And it just makes it a little more fun as opposed to, I don't know about anybody else, but you know, when we were kids and you'd be at somebody's house and they dumped out the can of, you know, roasted, salted, whatever
But,
nut mix. This is a healthier, tastier take on that.
and I assume putting them in the freezer or the fridge is so they don't get rancid. Is that right?
Exactly. The oils will get rancid. So it preserves the oils, which is better.
Good
And
to know.
you can taste it if it's gone rancid. So save your money. You don't want to, no food waste, and you don't want to throw your money out by buying stuff and having it spoil.
Good, good to know. And then you've got smashed potatoes. Those are regular potatoes or?
Those are regular potatoes. So I was thinking of entertaining, and I was thinking of the potato skins that you would get in a pub or something, right? The deep fried potato skins that came with the cheese and the sour cream and the bacon bits. So the recipe is for those, we all see those small little potatoes in the store, and you can get them now in all colors, the red, the white, the purple.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit more labor intensive, right? It calls for boiling the potatoes until they're just fork tender, letting them cool a bit, putting them on a parchment lined baking sheet and smashing them either with the heel of your hand or the bottom of the glass.
Mm-hmm.
And then putting them in a higher temperature oven to crisp up. Mm-hmm. And then you can top them with anything. Patty actually had mentioned once or twice she makes a lot of dal. I was thinking about even that. You could make dal and keep it thicker. And there's a dip or there's something you can put on your potatoes. Yeah. We have recipes, we've talked about caramelized onions or a roasted red pepper sauce or that green goddess dip that we've mentioned. Tahini sauce, pesto, throw anything on those smashed potatoes and now you have a healthier potato skin that you can enjoy as a meal, as a side dish, or serve to your guests. So a little more cooking, but not incredibly labor intensive.
Yeah, no. And, it's really not another nice way to go ahead and use a natural food that's a whole food and flavor it up, as you say, boost it up a bit. Give it a flavor booster.
Give it a flavor booster.
That's great. And then the last one was the virgin sangria, right? That's
So we've talked about mocktails. You never know. Some people like to enjoy a cocktail and some people don't. Last week we talked about a hibiscus tea cocktail that you can always add some liquor to if you want to make it a cocktail. I mean, mocktail we talked about. We'd also talked about just making a tea. You could make a ginger tea, throw in some mint, and then throw in some sparkling water, and you either have a mocktail or you can add something and make a cocktail. So this is a virgin sangria that I make all year round. It's actually really nice in the winter, but it's just black tea with some cinnamon sticks, some honey instead of all this sugar, some pomegranate juice, and then citrus, orange juice, and you throw in some apples and some slices of lemon, slices of lime, and you let that sit. And then when you're going to serve it, you take some and you add some seltzer, sparkling water, and you've got a really delicious sangria without the wine. And again, if anybody chooses to indulge, you can add wine or Prosecco to it if you like, and then you have a cocktail. But it's great for parties, all these things, because you don't know who's going to choose to drink. You don't know who's driving. You don't know if children at a party. So instead of doing lots of separate things, if you're going to entertain, you can have a couple of things that can satisfy anybody's palate, from the young to the old.
I like that. So you can juice them up a bit, or or boost them up a bit.
Boost them up a bit. And I mean, this sangria, right? It's got black tea, which is healthy, and cinnamon, which adds this sweetness, and the citrus. So it's a really healthy. It's a healthy drink. It's full of all those antioxidants instead of getting something packaged from a store.
Well, I'll add these to the website. Certainly, we've got all of the recipes that we've done over the last 9 weeks. This is the 10th week, I guess, right?
10th week, yeah.
10th week. So, I again think that not only is the food idea is incredible, but you're incredible for sharing this with us all with your energy over the last 10 weeks now. And I am gonna miss coming back with you. So I do want to just sort of give you a hug, a virtual hug, and go,
hugging you back, Keith.
Yeah, and there's
So,
and there's it's no mistake that sounds a little like home, because the work that you've been doing is really about how we can nourish ourselves at home. And your website again, Nancy, for all those that are listening.
nancysnourishingkitchen.com. And
Uh-huh.
I will post these recipes up on the Center for Wellbeing page when we get off of this call. But
Okay,
lots of
great.
information there.
Great.
And
So I'm just looking at the time. I'm just going to stop the recording and look forward for us to come back again. And I'm Keith Fiveson for the Center of Wellbeing at workmindfulness.com. And I want to thank everyone who joined us today. Okay.
thank you.